A whole lot more about him, but I want you to watch the airplane taking off right now. The airplane is known as the Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. It is a trainer version of the first production combat aircraft of the United States Air Force after World War II. But my name is Greg Colyer. He'll be back in just a couple of moments. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the announcer, narrator, and partner of our next performer. Her name is Lunar Sawyer. She's going to tell you all about Jerry Jive Kirby. Lunar, welcome to AirPower over Hampton Roads.
And thank you, Rob Ryder, and thank you, Langley Air Force Base and AirPower over Hampton Roads. And ladies and gentlemen, off to the right is a little RV-8.
He got hooked. The T-33 actually had its genesis because the original F-80 Shooting Star was a little bit much to handle. But take a look, low and to the right, it's time for ace maker Greg "Wired" Colyer. This airplane looks fast no matter what it's doing. He actually had his first airplane flight when he was 7 years old in a Cessna 172, a little four-place airplane that is still a great trainer teaching people how to fly. Hooked ever since. He's been flying for almost 3 decades, getting his pilot's license in 1982, and then after he left the Army, he became an air traffic controller at Oakland's Air Route Traffic Control Center. But when he got a chance to fly the jet, that changed everything. He flew with his friend Kay Eckert in one of Kay's Lockheed's T-33s in '07. He set his sights on the upgrade to the U.S. Air Force's first operational jet and a real piece of U.S. aviation history. He acquired this T-33 and named it Ace Maker in 2008. And now, one of the most sought-after acts in the air show business. It was the poor safety record of the original F-80 P-80 Shooting Star that led to the development of this aircraft. They stretched the fuselage, put in a second cockpit, and then there was a real jet trainer for United States Air Force pilots to learn to fly jets in. Eventually, about 6,750 of these were built, not only by Lockheed, the company that designed and first manufactured the jet, but also in Canada and Japan. Between those two countries, about 900 of them were built, with a top speed of right around 600 miles per hour. I think the airplane looks fast no matter what it's doing. As Greg goes over that cloud and then rolls out with his 1/2 Cuban 8. The fighter version, the F-80 Shooting Star, served in the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. But with its straight wings, it was not as maneuverable or as fast as the Russian-built MiG fighters flown by the North Koreans. And so North American Aviation actually rushed their F-86 Sabre jet into production and into combat very, very quickly. But still, as Greg "Wired" Colyer approaches from the right in this low-altitude, high-speed pass, it's still good. As a matter of fact, the T-33 remains to this day to be the fastest straight-wing, single-engine jet on the face of the earth. 600 miles per hour. Of course, one of my sources says 599. 600, close enough for me. Powered by a 5,400 pound of thrust Allison turbojet engine. Allows it to climb at nearly a mile a minute from sea level. Now watch the slow roll. One of the most challenging maneuvers to do well. Maintaining a perfect line across the line. I think he deserves a round of applause for that. That's Greg Colyer. P-80 program, Lockheed ignored suggestions that a training variant should be developed, but by 1947 it was clear that moving from piston to jet-powered fighters wasn't as easy as expected, and the P-80 was suffering an alarmingly high accident rate. So the jet transition trainer was clearly needed, and Lockheed gained permission from the Air Force to modify a single-seat P-80C to act as the prototype for the trainer P-80C, lengthening the fuselage right before and after the wing, gave it the extra length to add a second cockpit, but at the expense of the internal drop tanks, at the expense of internal fuel, they put the drop tanks on the wings, and this is the iconic look of the T-33. Greg has been so successful that he's actually purchased a second one of these aircraft, and now he has one for the East Coast and one for the West Coast. Just blow him away. Stars in his eyes. And the very next day, wanna beat up 6 in a second-hand store. Didn't know how to play it, but he knew for sure. Guitar felt good in his hands. Didn't take long to understand. Just one guitar slowed way down. That's the inverted pass. So successful has Greg Colyer been with this airplane that is, after purchasing the second, he got a call from the Farnborough Airshow in Great Britain and said, Greg, we want you to bring your T-33 over to Great Britain. He said, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can get it over there. Well, then he found out that there was an owner of a T-33 in Europe who said, Greg, I'll let you fly it. And so he is going to be headed to Europe to the Farnborough Air Show this year, flying a third T-33, this one not his own. But let's watch him. I think he's slowing down now to see the dirty pass. They call it aerodynamically dirty, and what that means is the landing gear's down, it creates a lot of drag, there's turbulence in the wheel wells where the wheels are hidden, but we get to see the slow speed pass of the T-33. The sound of that Allison as he shoves the throttle in his left hand all the way to the stops, accelerating away. get a good photo pass in just a couple of seconds here. He will give us a chance to look right down into the office. Standing it up on one wing, he pulls that stick back into his lap and he experiences 6 times the force of gravity in this flat 8 turn. Applause for Greg Colyer, call sign Wired. And he'll be setting up for a photo pass in just a second. Cameras ready. This is the photo pass of the T-33. Hesitation roll. Now he's setting up for his last pass. He'll put it up on one wing. Then we'll get a chance to get a good photo pass. The 4-point hesitation roll showing great control of an airplane that has a rich, rich history. Even the Thunderbirds used a T-33 back in the 1950s as an airplane into which they could put a media flyer in and see a media flight. Look at this. Coming into land, we're going to launch a couple of airplanes in the meantime. And the airplane launching will be Scott Yoke and the P-51 known as Quicksilver. If you're interested in an aviation career, the window is now open for scholarship applications through the International Council of Airshows Foundation. Scholarship applications are available on the website www.icasfoundation.org. The commissary and base exchange are both open regular hours for eligible customers. Stop by and shop on your home. Earplugs are also available. Just ask Airshow staff for them as we celebrate 100 years of Langley Field. Thanks to our local Ford dealers proudly saluting AirPower over Hampton roads. Go further. Thanks to the City of Hampton, the Langley Civic Leaders Association, Langley Federal Credit Union, and USAA. Thanks also to Abuelos, the Base Exchange, the Boeing Company, First Command, St. Leo University, and Trader Joe's. And yesterday, during our rehearsal show, we want to say a big thank you to Bojangles on Commander Shepherd Boulevard. Brought us some box lunches that taste great. Greg Colyer touching down.